Ben, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. What?
Oh, we have to start the game.
No, we don't. I tell you what, humour is such an important part both of being a speaker and of working in the funeral industry, because if you haven't got a sense of humour, the funeral industry is a very, very, very dark place. So yeah, no, we don't have to start again, because it's about actually having a funny bone. It's an important part of life. And a funeral service that doesn't have at least one-liners in it is a very sad and sombre affair. So please don't start again, because otherwise I have to come up with all of that again. So,
And that's why he's my friend.
yeah, I'm not just weird, it's true. But I tell you what, I find it fascinating working with people who are recently bereaved and putting together a funeral service, because as a celebrant, I'm allocated a family to look after. I go off, I interview them, I build a deep intimacy with them, I know them as intimate strangers. From that, I'm able to write a service, deliver the service that they want in the way that they want it, which is often very slightly naughty and irreverent and mischievous, because life isn't always serious. And nor does death have to be, nor does saying goodbye, because we can have fun whilst we do it. But what's really interesting, and this is why I think this is why you wanted to talk to me today, was back in July, the weekend before the hottest week, I had a blackout. Is that what you wanted to talk to me about?
Yes.
So I have an hour and 50 minutes where I have no idea what happened in my world. I had long conversations with people, I made phone calls, and I was confused. What happened was, it was a hot day, I was in a rush to go and see a family. I was recently bereaved. I'd lost someone that I knew, and I was about to do their funeral service. I felt like I was under a lot of pressure. My blood pressure was through the roof. Why I didn't have a heart attack or a stroke, I don't know. But I collapsed, and I banged my head. Now, I was on a London Underground platform, which was to my advantage. 6 minutes later, the ambulance turned up. They checked me. So there I was. I must have been lying on the platform with all these cardiac leads all over me, blah, blah, blah. And they wanted to make sure I was still alive and I wasn't in crisis.
Of course, yes.
They took me downstairs, put me in the back of the ambulance, they checked me over, they took me into A&E, and I met the most amazing doctor, who actually, funnily enough, came for tea just the other morning.
Oh.
First time I've seen him since July.
Amazing.
And I went through this whole process of, I had to admit that as a complementary health professional, which I've been for 26 years now, I didn't have an answer to what was going on in my world.
Yes.
And I had to be really humble about what was happening next, because I couldn't drive, I was unwell, I had a blood pressure that was, I will put it in technical words here, stupid. Absolutely stupid. Why I didn't have a stroke, we don't know. Why I didn't have a heart attack, we don't know. But I went on, I did 3 funerals that week. I travelled away, I stayed away overnight. I did a burial, which we don't do. Actually, I did 2 burials that week. I went with 2 other families. It was the hottest week of the year, and my blood pressure was still through the roof, although I was on medication.
Wow, that's shocking. But I remember that moment, and specifically I remember what you said, that you started thinking a bit differently. You evaluated your life and you looked at things from different perspectives. And what a surprise, because, well, I've never been blacked out for an hour, 15 minutes, or any time, right? But I think when you do, and when you understand that at any time in your life you could be just dead, I think it really changes your life.
Yeah. I mean, I remember before blackout, I dashed from home to the tube station, ran up the escalator, and I remember turning right to go towards my platform. I do not remember anything else until I was lying in a hospital bed, apart from one tiny little flash, lying in a hospital bed and going hello to my other half, my son-in-law, my stepdaughter, and this nice Arabic doctor. Until that moment, nothing.
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 Wow, that's shocking.
But it was that whole thing of like, I realised how quick everything changes. That there is, life is split seconds, absolutely split seconds. That's falling in love, falling out of love, hearing, being deaf, breathing, not breathing. They're all not even a second long, not even a fraction of a second. They are a wafer of time different.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I've talked about it for years. It's been my profession for a long time, talking about these sorts of things. And then suddenly it happened to me.
Wow.
And it's like I treasure things more deeply. I value things more deeply. And I realise I actually don't know and I don't understand anything. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me to suddenly realise how fragile and how different everything is. Because we talk about, I've got to be over here, everything's very important. Is it heck?
There we go.
Almost nothing is important. Almost nothing. The relevance of things. I treasure my relationships more than anything. I treasure the value that I have of the integrity of the friends that I've got more than anything else, because that's real. It's what makes my heart sing. It makes me value life.
I love that. I really love that. And I think all of us will need to really appreciate life which we have, because you're right, it can change, or it can just stop in half a second. In a literal moment, everything can absolutely stop or change.
Well, I didn't realise how arrogant I was about life.
No.
Seriously?
You were arrogant.
Me.
What do you mean?
Well, I used to think I knew stuff. I don't.
Wow.
I mean, the safest thing I've ever learned is that I actually don't know anything. But that gives me the chance to... We've all got the opportunity to plug into the cosmic soup, as you used to call it.
Yes.
There's always a greater wisdom than our own. We've all got our own wisdoms, but forget to use them. Because if I've been taught that I'm useless, or I'm stupid, or I don't understand, I would forget my own wisdom. However, having been through what I've been through, I've had to learn other people's wisdoms and to realise there's so much more I can connect to and understand if I get out of my own way. If I think I know I've got the answers, guess what? I've lost it.
Wow.
But if I've got that chance just to sit down and go, hello, who are you? Not how are you, who are you? I've got that chance to build a relationship with you that's loving, caring, understanding, and beautiful, and intimate, and easy. And with intimacy, I'm not talking about climbing inside bed with you. I'm talking about just sharing an emotional space of safety and care and kind. And therefore love can flourish, and it's okay.
Yeah. That's exactly actually what we spoke on so many occasions about going deep with the friendship, going deep with relationships, where actually you can open up and share things. And not only share, but actually also pay attention to what we speak about and how we talk about that. So if needed, we can actually help to adjust each other and actually reshape and shape almost the thinking way, because very often, which is good, that we accept people the way they are, or should I say majority of people. Well, I think with our relationship is different, that we do accept each other the way we are, but sometimes we are here for each other to help and reshape each other if it's needed. So sometimes we're here, one of us is saying some limiting belief or kind of facing the challenge and we don't know how to get through that. But I like that we always are able to kind of help each other to push through that.
But also we respect each other.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And it doesn't, I'm a lot older than you can tell from the grey hair.
No, it's fake. It's fake.
Actually, I've got it. I found some pictures the other day where I was playing Granddad in the play a few years ago. I've got to show you. They are absolutely amazing. But that's getting off topic. But definitely, I look older than I did in those. But it is this thing of wisdom is not determined by age. Wisdom is not determined by qualification or whatever. It's something about when we are respectful and loving and caring with each other, because at any moment anything can change.
Yes.
And if we take that into account, then we can make beauty in the current time,
Yeah.
and we can also make beauty following the current time because we have that understanding.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think here where actually because you also do end of life service, right? And I think
End
it
of
just
life
comes,
services
yeah,
and seeing people through times of significant change.
yeah, which comes hand in hand with actually giving that care, giving that love, giving that extra attention. Because when we spoke with you another day, you said you would like to do a video of helping families to get all together before somebody dies. Because how often actually do we regret that time? And personally, I do as well, because my granddad died a few years ago. And I remember that time when my child went to Latvia to see my family. And I didn't go with him because I thought, well, I'm too busy with work and I'll go another time. And actually what happened, I still had to go. I still had to go 2 weeks later because my granddad died. And I can't tell you how much I regret that I actually didn't go to see him. And he was really, really poorly. And I really regret that. So when you mentioned that this is what you do, actually helping families to get all together and organize for that elderly person or even somebody who is in terminal illness, see everybody together, connect with everybody together. I think this is so priceless. We need more of that. Can you give more details about this?
Well, I mean, to me, the greatest grief I ever see is people say I could have done different. It's as simple as that. We live in a world that's too busy and doing stuff, being stuff is too important. Is it hell?
No,
Is it hell? It's not true. It's just a bunch of stories. You know, we're a couple of friends. We're sitting in a hotel lobby having a chat. Okay, it's what's it? Today's Thursday, isn't it? It's Thursday, middle of the day. It's fine. Now, we get to spend time appreciating each other, having a chat, and it's priceless.
Yes, absolutely.
And we can do exactly the same with our families. You know, we don't have to necessarily like our families to feel like we're part of a community. But when we're meeting under circumstances that are not distressing because someone has died, it is very different to meeting once the death has happened.
Yes.
And it makes a different experience for the person who's still alive because they can be loved and appreciated whilst it's going on.
That is so true. That is so true. And that's why I think what you do is really beautiful. Really beautiful. Not only helping to reconnect with the family members and reunite and share things and even just do things together, but also if the death happened, actually take them through the journey of actually making it easier and just simplifying things.
When I did a service yesterday, it was for a very close family, but what was really interesting was every family does things differently, but I encourage as much ritualization as possible during the service. So for the first time ever, as I walked into the chapel yesterday, I was leading the coffin. On my right was the great-grandson, on the left was the great-granddaughter. The great-granddaughter was carrying the picture of her great-grandfather, and the grandson was carrying the Chelsea scarf and the tin of beer. And they dressed
No
the coffin.
way.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it was part of how they were representing their grandfather. And they placed on the coffin, so they were intimately involved.
Yes.
Following the coffin was the wife. She was 89.
Wow.
And on each side of her were the two children, the two daughters. And carrying the coffin were the grandsons.
Wow.
So the whole family was involved. And then during the speeches, granddaughter spoke, she wrote a poem. The grandsons each paid tribute. It was a whole immersion of the family in celebrating the life of granddad, great-granddad, dad, a whole lot.
How beautiful is that?
You know, it could have been a dry service, but we had so much going on. Now, imagine if we could have done that whilst he was still alive. I mean, he didn't have time. I mean, it was less than 2 weeks from start to finish, his end of life. But imagine if we had 3 months where we knew pretty much. Then we can get the whole lot together. They can sit down, they can have a glass of wine together, they can tell stories together.
Yes.
He can get a chance to tell his bit. Because life is always limited, whether it's limited by 70 years, 70 days, 70 minutes.
True.
It's always limited. And do we ever appreciate it? Do we? Put in whatever Anglo-Saxon word you want there.
That's very true. And that is so precious when actually you have this chance to spend those last minutes, those last hours and days, however left is there, with your family members, and just allow them to have more of you.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just we need the hug. We just need that reassurance. I mean, when he was dying, Guy did yesterday, when he was dying, the last thing he did was he took his oldest daughter's hand, who he, in the 1960s, actually delivered. Now imagine a man delivering his child in the 1960s. Unheard of. He took her hand, kissed her hand and said, "Look after Mum." Those were those last words. She will never forget that experience with her father.
That is so precious.
It's about, if I was to say there is one tip only from working with the living, the dying, and the families dealing with the dead, is pay attention to the details, be present. And that's it.
I like that. Pay attention, and be present.
Be present and pay attention to the details, and do exactly the same in everyday life, because that changes everything.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
That is fascinating. So if you would give our listeners one tip in addition to pay attention to details and be present in journey and life, after your blackout, did you do anything differently? Anything like your daily routine, anything your life routine would actually you could share with our listeners or those who will watch this video actually?
How long have we got?
Probably, well, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate, be grateful, appreciate, and realise that what you think you know to be true might well not be.
I like that.
That's the simplest way to it.
I like that.
I've got an awful lot more than that. I think we need a separate podcast just for that conversation.
We definitely can organise one.
Live from your heart, love from your heart, and be appreciative.
There we go. These are the best tips, probably what I heard, which are very simple, down to earth, from my bestest friend, Ben. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy this video or podcast, depends what you're watching or listening. And stay tuned for more motivational videos with more motivational people. And surely we will bring back more, so you can get more of him. Thank you
so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye
Ben.
now.